Good evening, everyone out there in YouTube and Facebook land. My name is Volcano Shelton here with you tonight on this edition. We're here in the issues room, and tonight promises to be a great broadcast. Wherever you are, we want to welcome you in a special way to you, our viewers who have begun joining us and becoming our fan base. We want to encourage you to share the link, share our broadcast with your friends, your families. One way to enjoy it by going to YouTube and going live with us and using your television set, or better still, you can go to Facebook and do same. But again, I just want to encourage all of you, wonderful people out there, to continue to subscribe to the Issues Room. We are an alternative media platform here in social media world, bringing you issues trending in Liberia, the African continent, and that of the diaspora. So wherever you are, we encourage you. We broadcast on Tuesdays and Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that would be around 11 p.m. in Liberia. We encourage all of you folks to join us and be with us wherever you are. Again, as I said, just continue to invite a friend. We want to welcome Namiento Nino Brown. He is the first one here tonight with us. And again, there are a lot of you out there. We hope that you can join us via Facebook, the Issues Room page, and YouTube. Join us wherever you are. We encourage you to be with us. Tonight, we have a very, very uh, wonderful program. We will be bringing in guests from the Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas. Of course, the group is called ALJA for short. They are celebrating another year of existence, and this time it is the annual convention that will be held this weekend in the city of Trenton, New Jersey. And I'm telling you, people will be pulled from all over the place. We're still waiting to hear from our studio guest. They will be coming and joining us soon. We have Masa, who is out tonight because of some personal issues, and it's understandable. People uh, get things going, and sometimes in our lives we can't control some of the unforeseeable things, and all we can do is just take a break and come back to it. Again, I'm just encouraging Masa, wherever you are, to tonight. We'll be back here Friday. Hang in there, and hopefully everything goes well for you. Also, Moses Sandy is struggling to come in studios from his end. We'll hope that he can wait. We'll try to see how we can sort it out, and get him in momentarily. But in the meantime, again, we encourage you to spread the link, spread the word, and we are a new alternative platform here again to discuss the issues and especially the things that matter, not just to Liberia, but the African continent, again, as I said, and that of our diaspora. So many issues trending every day, so many issues trending, and we need to discuss these things from a more informed perspective, and also hopefully get some professional experts who can come here and we all can discuss and find solutions, particularly to our common patrimony, Liberia. As you and I know, our country is in a place where so much needs to be done, and not to blame any specific person or government per se. I think it's the whole country. The whole country needs attention, and every citizen from President Weah to, as I say, the janitor, all people of Liberia need some kind of attention. And again, every sector of the country is impacted by the trending economy, the global pandemic, and all of that. So we hope that we can discuss those things. But in the meantime, we encourage you to encourage someone to join us. My name is Volcano Shelton again. We'll be here till 8:30. Our broadcast runs for an hour and a half, and we encourage all you guys to continue to share the link and invite a friend. We hope that folks will join us and we want to, go bigger than just ordinary, and that can only be done by continued effort to share our videos, share our broadcast, and get us to that place where we can become one of the big things here in social media. So again, don't give up on us. Continue to stay with us, and let's work together. This is for our own, good. Our country is an important place where we got to work together and do the best for the country. So again, just a recap. Last week we covered some grounds. We talked about the government of Liberia's delegation to the U.S., headed by some of the ministers. I believe Nathaniel McGee, who is our state minister, the finance minister Samuel Twe, the information minister Ledger Rennie. Um, is part of that delegation. The city mayor Jefferson Koji is also part of that delegation, and they all, are in the Washington D.C. area lobbying for support for Liberia. Um, Again, it's important that uh, we hope that what they're doing will help, the country. So it's our hope that good things will come out of this, and it shouldn't be for self-aggrandizement. It shouldn't be for personal wealth. Whatever the benefit as a result of reaching out to the American government and painting a good image, that image must also be shared with the people of Liberia. Um, and of course, at this time, this government needs the international recognition because, quite frankly, you and I know that not much has happened. And again, the pandemic has played a major role, a major and critical role in everything that has been happening. So we can't put all the blame. Uh, you know, Again, we got to be critically practical here. That even here in America, the pandemic has had its own impact. If you look in the workforce, a lot of people are unemployed. A lot of people are, you know, uh, not working. Most of the institutions around America. We call it a great resignation right now. There's a lot of vacancies in many of the institutions. Uh, we're wondering where our workforce are. So yes, everywhere is impacted. For instance, the automobile industry is also impacted here in America. I mean, the cars you have purchased for about 15, $16,000, you're not paying $25,000 for those automobile. Um, Prices have hiked. You talk about mortgage and purchasing a home. The prices are just out of character. You go in the grocery stores, you go everywhere. It's just that bad. So again, we are faced with a serious crisis, and this crisis is not just common to Liberia. It is common to America. It is common to Africa. It is common to every country on earth. But how we continue to brainstorm and find, a clear path as to what we can do to enhance, our country, that would be the way out. So again, I'm still waiting for my studio guests to come in, and also to Moses Sandy. Um, Otherwise, I will soliloquize here tonight. Again, we want to welcome Precious Caroline Smith. Hello, and welcome to the show tonight. Um, please share the link. Please share the word. I'm expecting a lot of folks to tune in tonight here. If you're on, just say hello, so we can be sure that you are here with us and being a part of the discussion. We also featured one. Uh, I would call them international nonprofit organization because they're based here in the U.S. The Public Development Association or Public District Development Association, KDDA. They celebrated another year and they held their inaugural ball to uh, put their leadership in power. And the President Steve Quay was inaugurated on the last Saturday. and the program was well attended, and the benchmark amount they wanted to raise for developmental project within the district, they met that benchmark, and so kudos to the members of KDDA who showed up in order to support us. Uh, that put in enough resources to hopefully get everyone some kind of benefit, especially in the district. The plan is to do, I believe, a high school, and currently they're looking at health and education. So again, we congratulate them for meeting the goal and objective. Tio Sampon, welcome to the program. It's good to have you in the house. Uh, Jennifer Jolly, wow, good evening and welcome to the issues room. I can see now that I'm not by myself, so I will now bring in my partner, my team member, Moses D. Sandy. Moses, welcome to the issues room. You seem to be frustrated. What's going on? Technology been giving you help back
Technology,
there?
technology has been creating some setback. Do you hear me?
I'm listening. Don't ever ask the question. If I didn't, I will tell you. Just go ahead. People have been waiting
Yeah.
to hear from
Uh,
you.
it has been a little bit difficult here with my end. I don't know what was happening, but it's pleasing to be back with you, and we look forward to a very, successful show tonight.
And again, I was recapping what happened last week, and I also kind of mentioned the discussion tonight was centered around the Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas,
Hmm.
ALJA, and what do you expect for us to discuss tonight?
This week marks the seventh annual convention of the Association of Liberian Journalists in America's ALJA. So we'll be delving into the history of ALJA, the activities outlined for the weekend. It's also my understanding that there will be an election for national officers. We'll be speaking to the national leadership about that. Who are the candidates? And we'll also be looking at other plans that the organization has for media development in Liberia in the years ahead.
And so I'm currently waiting for our studio guest, and the guest comprised of the national president, Mr. Joe Mason, the Delaware Valley chapter president, Mr. Jackson Seton, and the
Mhm.
conventions committee chairman,
Yeah.
the guy who took the convention by the horn and drag it into where we're all going to be gathering this weekend, Mr. Peter Massaquoi. So right now, I'm hoping that Joe will be available in the coming minutes, or any
Okay.
one of them. But in the meantime, we're looking at talking about the situation at the University of Liberia, and just to buy some time here, we will be looking at that situation with the closure of the university. I saw this trending on social media where you know no support, and of course, um, the government decided that it would do free education, and probably didn't look at the unintended consequences, and so we'll be discussing that sometime next week.
Yes. We'll be taking a closer look at the university. It is my understanding that professors at the University of Liberia have decided to stop going to work because concerns regarding disparity in salaries paid to university professors and other administrative staff at the university. It's my understanding that the disparity is profoundly huge. I was listening to the public relations or the communications person of the faculty association, and he did say that they have administrative staff, people who have um, lower education as compared to professors with PhDs, earning more salaries than someone with a terminal degree. And I don't know how you can easily wrap your head around that. Having a graduate degree, having a terminal degree or PhD, it takes a lot of work. So to see someone who is not at that level any more money than a professor, I just can't easily comprehend that. But we hope that we'll be able to bring in, representatives of the university, faculty association to really come and tell our people what is happening at the university. I know yesterday there was a student protest. The police intervened, they contained the situation. But for Kano, that is more like putting a band-aid on the situation. Besides the issue of the professors, the university is significantly challenged, and you've been following the development as well. The university is challenged.
And absolutely, I mean, you
Extremely
know,
terrible.
education is not free, and to say that they were going to make the education free across all, public learning institutions up to the bachelor's level. And this is just the University of Liberia. We're talking about the community colleges. They're in dilapidated state. They, I mean, it's just that bad. But we'll come back to it. Let me see if Joe Mason is here. I told Joe he's not here yet. I'm only getting a blank screen, and so I don't know what's going on with Joe. And I see now he's trying. He's giving me a blank screen here. I just
Yeah,
try to bring him in. I don't
I
see
talked
him.
to him earlier, and he said he
No,
was
no, no.
behind. Yeah,
Yeah, but he needs like his camera needs to come on so that we can see him because
yeah.
he's not showing. So that's the problem. And
Uh,
I just shared that information with him. But yeah, as we talk about this situation,
mhm,
it's impossible. It's a world country don't have a robust economy. There's no social corporate responsibility from banking institutions, from the big industries. How many big industries, in fact, in Liberia? You know,
a
uh,
few.
is it and what is their social corporate responsibility to national issues? For instance, in America, some of the big institutions will give grant and money to help sustain learning institutions.
Mhm.
Um, that is not happening, and so for a government that has the biggest line item in the budget for salaries, you
Salary.
tell me where would the money come from to make education free? And especially Moses, think about it. You have about 5 million people in the country,
Hmm.
and a bulk of the people are young people who are yearning for education. Don't you think that they would just throng into the University of Liberia? Yes, because when we were
Obviously,
at
obviously.
LU,
I
when
mean,
we were at LU, we didn't have the kind of loud
when-
population today. Everybody, you go on Facebook, everybody's at the University of Liberia. So that tells you that they underestimated the number of enrollment
mhm,
when they made free education because it
yeah,
means that every Tom, Dick, and Harry want to learn.
of
You
course.
understand? And then with poor subsidy, it's impossible. It's
I,
impossible.
I
It
agree.
was just a
I
matter of
agree.
time.
The intention to introduce, free tuition at university and community colleges level by the we administration. The intention is good, but like you said earlier, what the government did not factor in is the cost of maintenance, the financial challenges in the country. Because of seeing these institutions, we're not only talking about the University of Liberia. You have William V. S. Tubman University in Maryland, which is also significantly challenged. In 2019, you have professors leaving in droves because the government could not sustain the university. Now you have community colleges across the country, community colleges all over the place, and all of these institutions are what? Looking forward to government budgetary support in the wake of the current situation with the COVID, the global economy is challenged. Then you're talking about a third world country. This is difficult to pull it up. I don't know what you think, Volcano.
Of course, Moses. I mean, there's no, secret to it. It
Yeah.
is a serious issue, and again, you got to understand from every angle, that education is costly.
It
Look at right
is.
here in America. In as much
Very
as there are some
funny.
public universities, you still got to, pay money.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the other side to all of this is what they didn't also calculate was it will make the quality of education very, very poor,
Of course,
because
yeah.
when you have 2 million people in the classroom, to a teacher who feels underpaid, he's just going to do things that will corrupt the learning process. And
I
that is
agree.
why a lot of the young people who are in public universities in Liberia are struggling. Now, we got two other folks here. So let's leave that, let's table that topic. We have,
Yeah, let's go
we'll
on
come
to
back
our
to that
guest.
next.
Let's
Um,
bring in our guest. Yeah,
yeah,
let's bring
so
him in, and I
So
know this is
yeah,
going to be a
I will
very
go. I will go according to the hierarchy right now. Since the national president hasn't come in yet, I will
yeah.
go
Okay.
and bring in Jackson T.S. Seton, who is the uh, Delaware Valley president. Even though elections was held yesterday, but he's still officially
Yeah,
president
the
until
man is
the
still
man said he
speaking.
resigned. The man was trying to get the thing off, and we'll bring in the convention chairman, Mr. Peter Massaquoi. Peter, your lighting is horrible. You got to find a place where the people can see your face. The only thing we're looking at is a black face behind a
Okay,
black image.
I will adjust it from my
So,
office.
okay, so
Yeah,
try to
just
do that. Try to do
yeah,
that, and we'll come back to you.
yeah,
Jackson, welcome to the issues room. Your first time in the issues room. How you doing tonight, and what's going on?
yeah.
Well, thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm delighted to join you guys tonight to discuss ALJA's pending convention, which is slated to be held um, from Thursday to Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm delighted that I'm here. The long-awaited issue room has finally arrived. I hope this will not be my first time coming in to discuss some pertinent issues as it relates to the Republic of Liberia and diaspora Liberians living in the United States and other parts of the world.
Thank you, thank you. We have the national president, the honorable
Thank
Mr.
you,
Joe Macy.
Mr.
Hold
Seton.
on, hold on, Moses. I'm bringing in
I
Mr.
see
Joe
the
Macy.
person in the background.
Yeah, Mr. Macy. Good evening and welcome to the issues room, where we discuss the things that matter.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for Kando. Thank you, Moses, for the invitation. Apologies for the technology issue. Obviously, this is the world we live in now. So I try to connect using my desktop. I have some issues, but I'm happy that I'm all this evening with you guys on the issues room. And before we delve into the discussion, I just extend my gratitude to you too and Master as well for this initiative. We're so short on professionalism in our media space these days, and for the three of you who are seasoned professionals who have all the stripes, you've schooled, you've practiced, you know all the guardrails that exist in the profession to decide to do this. I think it's a plus for those of us who follow the craft, and we want to wish you guys all the best. I'm hoping that the issues room can be the shining light and that will illuminate the way for the rest of the folks who are doing something similar. So my congratulations to you on the issues room and wish you guys all the best.
Thank you. Let me bring in
Thank
Peter
you, Mr.
Massaquoi.
President.
I believe Peter is now uh,
Oh yeah, it's well
ready,
lit.
even though
Yeah,
the lighting is still poor, but again, we'll take it as it is. Peter
it's okay.
Massaquoi is the chairman of the convention committee of ALJA. Welcome, Peter.
Thank you, Mr. Shelton and your team. Thank you.
All
Welcome,
right,
Peter.
Moses.
Yeah,
We have three important people of ALJA tonight, and I will kick the ball, and you're coming.
sure.
I would like to start with the president. because I wouldn't breach protocol if I thought it was necessary to go to the convention chairman. But Mr. President, what is your optimism for this weekend? What do you hope to accomplish, and what do you see on the horizon so far?
Well, one of the things that is unique to ALJA is this sense of camaraderie. We value relationship. We value the spirit of camaraderie that exists amongst us, and for the fact that because of COVID, we were unable to meet in person last year, makes this year convention all the more important. So there's a lot of excitement in the air as we gather this weekend to just sit down and look at where our organization has come from over the last several years, where it is right now, and where we intend for it to go. So the turnout will be really good. All the signs we're getting is that our members are ecstatic. They're making their way to New Jersey this weekend. We're looking forward to seeing other guests join us as well from the Delaware area, Pennsylvania, the New York area. And so it's going to be a weekend of fun, but it's also going to be a weekend where we do some serious business.
Mr. Seton, from your end, what is your chapter's role in all of this?
Well, thank you very much for allowing me to be on this show tonight. As I stated previously, I think you guys have done a wonderful piece of job to put the issue room together, and to piggyback on what my national president just stated. I think it is important that we as journalists, we try to be part of this platform, because you see a lot of discussions about Liberia. People and their initiatives are not bad, but the fact of the matter here is that a lot of them, and not trying to denigrate anybody, the efforts that they are making is good, but many of them do not have a formal training as journalists. So while it is true that they are contributing immensely to these discussions and on issues that are unfolding in Liberia, I think it is good that sometimes you bring in media personnel who have the knowledge and background on some of those issues. But having said that, the Delaware Valley chapter is in high spirit. All of our members are all fired up. We have done a phenomenal piece of job to plan this convention. And it is the hope that all of our colleagues that are in the United States and other parts of the world will come in and join us as we celebrate and we discuss those issues that are germane to contemporary Liberia. All of our guest speakers have indicated that they will be in attendance. The chapter has earmarked series of programs that will be followed during the days of the convention.
But the question is, what's your chapter role? What is the role of the chapter?
The chapter role has been to plan and execute this convention. So we have done everything to make sure that this convention is successfully held. We have secured all of the venues. We have made contacts with all of the relevant institutions and individuals that we want to be at our conventions, and they are all in readiness to attend the convention. So all of the nuts and bolts have been tightened, all of the screws that have been tightened, all of the informations are out there. And so the chapter has done extremely great so that we can have this successful convention. But before I can pause, I want to pause and give the convention chairperson the opportunity to give us a highlight on where we are. So I will pause and give Mr. Peter Massaquoi, who happens to be the convention committee chairperson, an opportunity to elaborate on what I said, and then at some point the president and myself will also come back in.
Are you running the interview now, or you telling the people what you want to do?
But man,
What's it?
I'm a
What's it?
journalist.
Look,
What's it?
I'm a
What's it?
journalist.
Mr.
Professor,
Shelton,
man,
I've
bringing
got
journalism
journalists.
into it. But listen,
I am
look,
a journalist.
look, woman.
you,
I,
What's this?
I,
You go ahead and ask your question. Go ahead and ask
no,
your question.
Mr. Seton says today, look, let me say this. You guys are not in the newsroom yet. So I know all your newsroom joke there, y'all don't pay. Mr. Seton just trying to open the door and say, look, let me give my convention committee chairman the opportunity to handle this. And let me tell him thank you for that. Thanks, Seton, for opening the door. Mr. Massaquoi, you chair the 2021 convention committee. Tell us a bit about the planning. What have you guys planned? Where these programs will be held, and who do you look forward to in terms of national leaders?
Well, thank you, Mr. Sandy. Also, thank you to Mr. Fukana Seton. It's a privilege for me tonight to share the C platform with our national president, Joe Macy, and also the outgoing president for the Delaware Valley chapter, Mr. Jassy Seton. For the last few months, our committee was charged with the responsibility to execute proper planning in partnership with the local chapter and the national leadership for a successful convention. And I want to openly thank all members of that committee who work seriously hard to ensure that we achieve our objectives. As chairman of the committee, I've been on the front line in close consultation with my colleagues, identifying areas that our program will be held. For example, like the president stated, we have secured the Portage Hall in Trenton, where our media training will be held on Friday. And then at the same venue, we're going to host our business session where we'll also elect our new code of officers that will lead a chapter for the organization for the next 2 years. And then we will also climax that day on Saturday with our benefit banquet, at which time we expect several dignitaries. For example, the mayor of Trenton, he will be our induction officer. We have Dr. Cassell, who will be the keynote speaker. We have the Liberal Information Minister,
Who is Dr.
Who
Cassell?
is Dr. Cassell?
So he's the political leader for the People Liberation Party, a new political institution in Liberia. I think the national president will dive more into that because the national spearheaded that particular aspect of the whole planning by extending invitation to them. But as a planning committee, we are aware of these high-profile dignitaries that will be gracing our occasion. We expect our delegates to start arriving on Thursday, which will be the 23rd. We will have a tour in some cities within the New Jersey area. We're looking at the Princeton University and tour in the Capitol Complex in downtown Trenton. Also, on Friday, we intend to do a bus ride down to Atlantic City after we have done with our workshop, so that our colleagues coming can be able to see the beautiful side of New Jersey as well. As you may be aware, this is a new tradition for us because of COVID. Our normal tradition every year, we tour various media institutions. We have media knowledge exchange program wherein our colleagues from Liberia participate and also receive some certificates. But because of the COVID, we have a limited in-person visitation at various centers. So we had to change our way of going about our media engagement program by just going to see some areas. So the committee has been working over time to see how best we could establish that link with other media institutions or public buildings, but it has been very difficult. But I can guarantee that we will have a very good time. The local chapter has been very helpful. Our members, it has been an entire teamwork to ensure we have a successful convention. On Sunday, we will have our Thanksgiving service after a long week of activities at a local church here in Trenton, the Fifth Harvard International, on Martin Luther King Drive in Trenton, and then it will be climaxed with a farewell barbecue, at which time some of our colleagues will be heading back to the various destinations. So it's like an entire week jam-packed activities, and it will be executed to the full extent.
Okay, so
All right, so let
you
me come
guys
in
have a
quick, Moses.
line up, and Kenna, if you mind,
Go
if I
ahead,
could
please.
just throw this quickly to the national president, Mr. Missing, I know you have a lot lined up for this weekend, but help us understand here. I was looking at one of your flyers, and I noticed that the convention theme for this year is the quest for an independent, sustainable, and ethical media in Liberia. Help us understand why this theme.
Thank you, Moses. It was certainly deliberate, as almost all our teams for different conventions are. Coming to this convention, we delve into the issue of sustainability when it comes to the media in Liberia, and
Mhm.
how media sustainability is also being impacted by the fact that our colleagues in Liberia, they're earning very little, they're underpaid, and in that kind of scenario, it brings into question whether they're able to uphold the ethical standards that uh, folks in the media out to live up to. If you're not, ethically holding up those guardrails, then your independence is also questioned. So all three of those come into play. And so
Okay.
we said to ourselves, it's important for enhancing the democratic culture we have in our country for Liberia to have a media that is ethical, that is independent, and that is able to sustain itself, void of any manipulation from folks who have money, from politicians, even from ordinary people. So the discussion this weekend is to see how do we arrive at answers to the question of how do we arrive at a media that is ethical, sustainable, and independent. We don't have all the answers. So what we've done is to bring together an array of media folks, folks who have extensive experience for our Saturday panel discussion. And that would focus exclusively on the theme of the convention. We've invited Mr. Peter Kokwe, who is the president of WAJA, that is the West African Journalists Association. We've invited the president of the DEL, Mr. Charles Coffey. We also have our own Joseph Batua, who served formerly as managing editor of the newspaper. We also invited Mr. Otello Gabla. Otello is managing editor of the New Dawn newspaper. And then we also have Miss Coulter Reeves. Coulter is an avid media watcher. Currently, she's a fellow at Yale University. And we believe that these folks will bring to the table their own unique experiences and knowledge in how do we, as members who believe in this profession, begin to answer the question of media in Liberia that is independent, ethical, and sustainable.
Okay.
Mr. President, quickly back to you. With the proliferation of all these media institutions in Liberia, and not only just the media institutions that are what I would call traditional, but then you have all of these social media platforms. You have this TV, a guy can just pick up his cell phone and run around the street and call it,
A
New Man
television
TV,
station.
on TV, TV, and all those kinds of stuff. Where do you draw the line when it comes to your theme? Who do you look at? Do you look at the traditional, the current number of radio stations in the country, or do you put everybody in the same ballpark?
A good question. That kind of sort of dovetail into our training on Friday. When we sat together to craft this convention, we said to ourselves, ALJA is a professional organization. When we're holding this convention, the goal is to ensure that these conventions are achieving our overarching goal. One, is it helping to empower our colleagues in Liberia? Is it helping to advance the cause of social justice, the rule of law, independent media? So we try to answer all those questions. The point you just made about this explosion of social media is something we thought about as well. Mind you, when all of us, minus Peter, of course, but when you, Moses, Jackson, I practice, we literally could count the number of media institutions, on our two hands, the radio stations, the newspapers, the television stations. That is not the case. When we examine the explosion of social media and new media technology and how it is basically challenging what used to be traditional media, I mean, social media now is a major source of information, and that is not reversible at all, especially in this digital world that we all live in. So we talked about the danger of this form of information dissemination because it impacts the role of the traditional journalist. We used to be the gatekeeper as the deliverer of credible information. You don't have that gatekeeper anymore. Like you correctly said, Volcano, anyone now can just take a microphone and a camera and put themselves in front Facebook and take upon the mantle of a journalist. Say, I'm a journalist, sidestepping all those guardrails that we used to respect when we practice in the profession. So we said, this scenario, by the way, is not unique to individual. Even governments now, they're taking advantage of this kind of platform, whether for good or for propaganda purposes. People have their own, unique social media platform. They have the hired gun, and they're exploiting the media space. We said to ourselves, let's bring together an array of professionals, including professors from different universities and colleges from across these United States, as well as veteran journalists. And let's talk about how we can begin to address some of the issues that exist in this social media space. Because if we're continuing to practice in this space, we have to be respectful of the rules that govern the profession. And so that will be the core of our media training on Friday. The other thing I'd like to add is that over the last several years, when we do hold these trainings, the media trainings, we do them with our colleagues from Liberia who we invite coming to the United States, and they are part of this training. Yeah. Unfortunately, this year, because of COVID, the embassy now has a restriction on offering visitor visa. So our colleagues will not be able to come. So what we said, we would take the training over to our colleagues virtually. So when we gathered on Friday in Trenton, we'll have these professors and veteran journalists from across the United States presenting at the workshop with some of us who will be there in person, linking up with our colleagues in Monrovia who will be at the I Center on Carey Street. So they will be directly benefiting from the workshop, because we believe that as an organization, helping to develop the manpower capacity of our colleagues is paramount. So that's why we planned the convention where we did.
Moses?
Yeah, and I would like to put this question to Mr. Seton. We're discussing ethical journalism. You and I practice journalism in Liberia. In fact, everyone also know the media situation in Liberia. In order to make the media in Liberia viable, especially taking into consideration the care of journalists, are you guys proposing that a journalist in Liberia be paid livable wages?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Sandy. This is an issue that we have discussed several times, publicly and in private. The situation with the media in Liberia is challenging. The media, as the president correctly stated, our colleagues are underpaid. The institutions they work for are underfunded. And there's so much challenges they are faced with, and it boils down to the issue of ethics. Let's put it this way, and then let's just do it the typical Liberian way. You are journalists in Liberia, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get up in the morning, you got your family to feed, you left them with nothing, and you say, well, let me go on the field. You went to your office, boom, you got this big scoop, and you try to pursue it, and then somebody, somebody or higher up who has a lot of money is involved in a huge scandal, and you got a scoop, you want to report it, and he calls you into his office and give you something on the ground. What do? Do you report the news, or do you take what he gives you? So that's a serious challenge that our colleagues are facing back home. Okay. And we see this proliferation of media institutions. We also see this every government official, whatever, has his own radio station. So it's a huge challenge. How do we do this balancing act on how the media can be ethical and they can report whatever is obtaining in the country free of bias and intimidation, and also how do it sustain itself? So that is the reason why this team was chosen, and I think it is well placed because, and even when the late PUF president was alive, peace be to his ashes, we had the same discussion during one of our conventions in Philadelphia. We see a proliferation of media institutions. The question is, why can't they merge? And this is an ongoing discussion that have been held in Liberia and beyond Liberia. You see, everybody wants to be an editor. Everybody wants to have they want to be a managing editor, have their own media institution. Sometimes the media institution or that newspaper doesn't come on the newsstand for about a month, but he maintains his office. You see that? Why don't our colleagues back home look at the idea and say, look, I have this talent, I don't have this means. This person does not have the talent, he has the means. Why don't we merge? Why don't we form a partnership so that we can all grow in this profession? And that's one thing. Another issue is, what is the yardstick for setting up a media institution in Liberia? We don't know.
Okay.
You see, so anybody can get up and just put a radio station tower up. You see, he has a media institution and he broadcasting. There is no guardrails. So I think it is good that we have these discussions so that we can form some kind of a policy document that will advance some recommendations to government so as to, to regulate the media landscape in Liberia. And one more last thing I want to say, with the proliferation of the social media, there is there's a lot of danger in the proliferation of social media. Why do I say this? Somebody can take their cell phone, they say they go on Facebook, and they propagate falsehood. And other people, they will listen to it, they watch it, they take it to be reality. And that's a danger. How do we balance that? Yeah, we know there's freedom of information.
Thank you, Jackson.
Information comes responsibility.
Thank you, Jackson.
Thank
Let
you.
me just come in. We are at the intermission right now. You're just joining us. We're in the issues room here where we discuss the things that matter. Moses Sandy, Volcano Shelton. We're hosting the All Liberian Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas. The national president is Joe Mason. The Delaware Valley president, who has just resigned his post but still waiting for the elections on this weekend, Mr. Jackson Seton, and the convention committee chairperson, Mr. Peter Massaquoi. We want to go to our chat room and just recognize some of our guests here in studios with us tonight. Ms. Yvette Cephas says she's watching with us from Atlanta, Georgia. Namiento Brown from Pennsylvania. Sekou Kaba. V. Shelton Bridges from Worcester, Massachusetts. Malcolm Lee Joseph following us from Monrovia. Jennifer Jarlee, Vakunun John Wamahe, Theo Sumpon Jr., Precious Caroline Smith. Again, if you can share the link, share the videos, share the page. We want to encourage a lot of people to join chat here. We'll be opening the line soon, but I just wanted to remind you that the discussion here tonight is centered around the Association of Liberian Journalists annual convention that is taking place this weekend here in Trenton, New Jersey. Again, also, we want to remind you that our broadcast comes on at 7 p.m. on Tuesdays and Fridays weekly. Let me just come to probably, I would say, the convention committee chairman, because oftentimes when you are planning an occasion like this, you have a yardstick as to what you want to accomplish. Now, people out there may be wondering, why did you pick Dr. Daniel Cancel, the People's Liberation Party presidential aspirant, as a keynote speaker? It could be anybody else. Because there's political undertone to all of these things, how people will kind of, I would say, perceive the whole issue.
Well, I will respond, but I think the national president would dive into that 100% because it was a collaborative discussion held, and for which Dr. Cassell was selected. First of all, he was one of those shortlisted to actually speak at our convention. We firstly decided to bring in, I think, the former vice president, but for some situation he couldn't come. So we decided to bring in Dr. Cassell because he knew to the political spectrum of Liberia. He been trying his best to identify with the media and other Liberians across the world. So I think it was one of the reasons why we decided to bring him to see to hear his input into this particular discussion as to a sustainable and independent media in Liberia. So the president can speak more about that, but that was the number one objective because we have Alexander Cummings, the political leader of ANC. He spoke at one of our conventions back in 2019. We have held series of other political figures balancing it with both government. We try not to politicize our event because the primary purpose is about media development in Liberia and how independent they can be. So we can assure our public that it will not be any political debate or political forum. It's all about enhancing a sustainable and independent media in Liberia.
Joe, you want to add?
Yeah. I just want to buttress what Peter said. So, Mayu, Dr. Cassell is the vision bearer of the People's Liberation Party, one of the newest party in the country. And like Peter said, we've invited other political leaders from other parties before. I think going towards elections, it's important for us to understand from these political figures what alternative do they have to offer that is better than what we currently have. So that was one reason why we invited him. Secondly, the issue of media sustainability and ethics and independence in the media is something that we media folks will talk about amongst ourselves and decide what is the path forward. It's also important to understand what do politicians have to say regarding this particular topic. What is their own prescription? Even though we have our own prescription that we're going to discuss, but it's important to hear as politicians, as somebody who is aspiring for the highest office in the nation, what is his own prescription regarding this particular thing we're talking about? And then thirdly, love that the Cassell or hate him, you cannot argue the fact that he's done some really good humanitarian work in the country. He's been able to lift up the loss of people, and I think we should celebrate something like that. So for these many reasons, we thought it would be best that he served as our keynote speaker for this year's convention.
Moses?
Yeah, and now let's look at your organization itself briefly. ALJA been around since 1998. The acronym which represents current and retired Liberian journalists in the Americas. You've been around since 1998. I know in 2004 your organization crumbled and you came back in 2014, resuscitated, and today you are in the a viable organization in the United States. Help us understand. Tell us a bit about your membership. What are you doing in showing cohesiveness amongst your people in the Americas? And what are some of the things that you guys are doing for the advancement of professional journalism in Liberia?
Thank you, Moses. So, like you correctly stated, ALJA was a vibrant organization in the late 90s into the early 2000s, and then it crumbled. Sometimes I retrospect because when I arrived in the United States in 2001, back in Liberia when I still lived there, some of the journalists who came before us during the crisis decided to establish this organization, knew that it had a noble cause. And those of us who follow ALJA when we still live in Liberia believe sincerely in the ideal for which this organization was established. So I think when I came to the United States in 2001, the first convention I ever attended was an ALJA convention in Washington, D.C. And so it was sad for those of us who were associated with the organization to see it crumble the way it did. Can you imagine what ALJA would have accomplished in the 10 years that it lay dormant? 10 years. So like you said, well, not until 2014 when we started this process. You of course headed that process of resuscitating the organization. Went into elections. You became the first post-crisis president. So it was a period initially of crawling for those few years when we resuscitated the organization to where we are right now, where I can say we are walking now. I remember years ago when you were in charge, we literally used to source money to host convention, amongst the leaders and members of ALJA, because we believe in this cause, the cause of advocacy, the cause of helping to build the capacity of our colleagues in Liberia. Look, we live in this United States. This is the greatest and the richest country in the world. The fact that we live here, many of us who live here are enormously blessed. We have a responsibility, just looking at the media landscape that exists in the country and the dire need that exists in the landscape, to be able to give something back to our colleagues and ensure that we're helping our country. Because if the media is better, our country is better. If the media is better, our democracy functions properly. So that's what we keep trying to do, making sure that the welfare of our colleagues is paramount, ensuring that our voices are heard in the country when it comes to those issues that we care about. And I mentioned some of them. Ensuring that there's freedom of the press, ensuring that good governance is practiced, ensuring that people's rights are respected. Those things are fundamental to what we believe in as members of ALJA, and those are things we'll continue to talk about. Continue to strengthen our membership, because the stronger we are as individuals in ALJA, the more we can be able to do for our colleagues in Liberia.
So let me come in quick. I've seen where ALJA has kind of held government foot to the fire on some of the issues, and also give government praises when the government did right. Um, do you see yourself as having a good relationship with the current government in power?
Yeah, I do. I mean, we are not friends, neither are we adversary to the government. What we try to do is maintain a line that is independent. We've dealt with the Salif government in the past, and we're dealing with the We Are government. And evidence that we are not friends, not a foe of the government, is the fact that our convention will be graced by the information minister, who is the official government spokesman. He was representing the Liberian government at our convention. Similar thing happened in the past when Minister Eugene Nangbe, at the time he was information minister, represented the government at our convention. So we try, because we know as Liberians, we need to work with folks in a position, just as we need to work with folks in the government to ensure that our goal as an organization is accomplished. So we're not enemies at all. I know sometimes that is the perception out there that we don't like the government. We are anti-government. ALJA is not and will never be anti-government. Because we respect the government. The government was constitutionally elected. We respect them. We respect folks who work in the government. But we see ourselves as an advocacy organization, and I think they ought to respect that as well. Because if they're not doing those things that we think government ought to do, we'll continue to hold them to account.
Let me quickly open the lines. The lines are open. Call 484-292-4397 to engage our guest here tonight, Mr. Peter Massaquoi, Convention Committee Chairman, Mr. Jackson T.S. Seton, who is the Delaware Valley Chapter President, outgoing President, put it that way, and also the National President, Mr. Joe Mason. As soon as I open the line, we have a caller, and let me just cue the caller in. Caller, are you there? What's your name? Where you calling from? Okay, great to have you in the house. What's your contribution, or do you have any question for our panel? You're in the background where I'm hearing people laughing. Could you isolate yourself?
And we are not even hearing her
We are not
question.
hearing.
I'm hearing the caller.
You're not hearing him?
No.
No.
Are you guys not hearing the caller?
No.
No, we
No.
are not.
All right. Okay. Okay. Go ahead. I can hear you in studio, but they're saying they're not hearing you. So I'll just regurgitate what you said. Go ahead quickly. Let's run through this. It's PLP.
Call from Nielsen. Call from Nielsen.
Whose telephone is that?
Is the
Who's
call
that
on the
speaking there?
phone?
Yeah, that's my telephone. That's my
Oh,
home phone ringing.
We're doing a short survey
Could you take it off the hook immediately and put it back? Go ahead.
okay. We cannot hear the caller.
Well, okay. Thank you, caller. So the caller is saying that he's concerned that ALJA, the last time he went to one of the ALJA conventions, and Kwame Clement, at the time who was ANC uh, candidate or aspiring, was the keynote speaker. And here he comes again, another political party, standard bearer. And prior to that was Alexander Cummings. Why haven't we, ALJA meaning, chosen a government official to be the keynote speaker?
Was the question, why haven't we chosen a government
Yeah, a
official as
government
a keynote
official. It
speaker?
seems as though we're diving more into political aspirants as a keynote speaker. That's the caller's question.
Well, um, the answer to that question would be that when, mind you, the CDC government is the government in power currently, all right? I'm sure most of the folks that will have absolutely no problem if President Weah decides he wants to speak at our convention, we'll embrace him. But as the government in power and folks who are aspiring to replace that government, I think it's incumbent upon us to hear them out, to see what the alternative vision will be for the country. But the government is still very represented at the highest level. Like I said, the Minister of Information will be there. He will espouse the government issues that he wants to espouse. He has, the liberty to speak to what he wants to speak to. So the government is very much involved in our convention. The fact that we haven't selected one government official as guest speaker simply means that the government is the one in power right now, and I think citizens, who, especially those there in the diaspora, just want to listen to folks who are challenging the government and say, hey, what is it that you got to offer? You want to replace the government in power? Let's listen to you and find out what you have to offer. But no, the government is very much involved in everything we do.
May I make a comment, please?
Sure.
Yes, with respect to what the national president just said, over the years, during our conventions, we have extended invitations. Each time we have our convention, we extend invitation to government officials. And so many government officials have attended our conventions and they have made statements. Now, the reason why we are keen on that is because ALJA does not operate in a vacuum. Everybody has a stake in the Republic of Liberia, including ALJA members, opposition politicians, and the sitting government. So whenever we have our convention, when we invite a politician who is not in government, we make sure we have a government representation at that forum so that whatsoever that politician says, the government will have an opportunity to respond immediately. Because, mind you, we are an independent, non-political, non-partisan organization for that matter. So we try to do our best to balance our convention by bringing all sides of the political spectrum to our convention.
Again, the number to call is, as I said, to Our telephone number is kind of new, so I'm trying to struggle to get it. Let me let me get it in
But
484-292.
So, Mr. Shelton, I would like to speak to
Hold on.
our benefit banquet.
You're
mhm,
coming
we're
quick.
talking about that.
You're coming quick. 484-292-4397. Again, 484-292-4397 to engage our studio guest, Peter Massaquoi.
Yes.
The
So,
banquet.
I just want to encourage our listening audience that reside in the United States, specifically New York, Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and everywhere, that we still have tickets available. Ticket will be sold on the first come, first served basis. We want to encourage them to make that request for tickets. If you fire away, you don't have to wait to come to the door, because there's a possibility we might be sold out anytime soon. So you could even purchase a ticket through the means of Cash App, through Zelle. You can contact any member of ALJA that you know, especially from the Delaware Valley chapter. We all have tickets available. You can contact the national president if you're in Minnesota, wish you to come over here. Your name can also be placed on our official guest list, mark that you have paid your money. But we don't want people to be so reluctant in obtaining tickets, and then when they come to the door, we already sold out, because tickets are going very fast. So we want to
So,
just
so
have that
Peter,
information out
so,
there.
so Peter, quick here. People just don't want to come and all work, no play. Tell us what are some of the play things going on Saturday night.
Oh my
Uh,
God, we have two. We have, by the way, we have two wonderful Liberian musicians. They are all gospel musicians. These are household names in the Trenton, Pennsylvania, in the entire East Coast. We have the Dwarf family. He and his wife, they will be performing two of their newest hit songs. We have Mr. Frankie Gofeko. He's run the Money Restoration Ministry. He will be entertaining on that night. So people are not just coming to purchase ticket and just enter. We will have drinks available for our guests. We're also going to have unlimited food available for our guests. So we are encouraging them to come and participate. And like the president stated, we have to raise money. This money that folks are paying to enter and what they'll be donating is all geared toward media development in Liberia. We have our media fund drives. We need resources. So
would that be a
you
luncheon,
cannot make a
a
way. You can
national
still purchase
luncheon?
ticket to support.
Would that be a luncheon to raise money that night?
Yes, that will be our media fund drive. We will be raising money to enhance our media development activities in Liberia. So even if you are far away across the U.S., even if you are listening in other countries, but you cannot make your way, you can still cash out money to the national leadership. You can sell money to us. We will appreciate it because at the end of the day, our colleagues back home will be beneficiaries.
Now, we're trying to raise money. How much are we trying to raise, and who is going to be the key launcher of the fundraiser?
We don't have. I mean, we need more money. If we can raise up to 100,000, I mean, it's our goal to raise as much as possible. So we
Mhm.
don't have a specific cap to say we want 10,000, 5,000, 6,000. We need enough resources,
Peter, the
financial
question is, who's the
resources,
chief
material
launcher?
resources as well.
Who's
So
the chief
who's the
launcher?
key
Who have you
launcher? Yeah,
identified to
I
take
can
the
have the
money?
president, Mr. Mason, speak to that.
Mr.
But
President, who's the key launcher?
So we've considering a number of individuals who will be at the convention. We haven't decided exactly who yet, but we will do that by the time we get to the convention that weekend. But there are a couple of options. We know there are quite a few people who would be more than willing to launch the media fund drive for us on that weekend.
Okay. So let me ask you, Mr. Massaquoi, I heard you talk about tickets earlier, but you didn't tell us, the price or the prices for the tickets. What are they?
well, we have three categories of tickets. We have general admission is $30.
Okay.
We have couples ticket. If you want to come with your wife or significant others, it's $75. We
Okay.
have our patrons, people who believe in ALJA and want to support ALJA. We have the patrons ticket for $100 United States. Any ticket has different categories. So for people who paying $75 or $100 as a patrons, they're gonna have different setting and they're going to have extraordinary service during the banquet night. So we're going to treat all of our guests uniquely, but we have categories of people. That's why we have different tickets prices.
So what's your count now with everything that you've planned so far? Your count of attendance. Where are you now based on the number of
Well,
tickets sold or people who've committed? Because from what I'm hearing, this event promises to be bigger because every year ALJA grows into a bigger event, and we're hoping that this one is mammoth enough to the point where it beats the previous one.
well, I
What
can tell you, the Delaware Valley chapter members have been working very hard. We have 200 tickets printed, and those tickets were distributed among our members. For me, as a convention chair and also member of the chapter, I've already sold little over 20 tickets, and we still have a lot of people that putting in for tickets. In fact, I've been receiving some money today on Cash App and Zelle. People purchasing the tickets that they haven't received the physical ticket, but we're just creating a list for them. So the hall we intend to occupy that hall with close to 215 people. So that's how we said it will be first come, first serve basis. So we don't want for people to just wait and come to the door because we'll have security in tight that will be able to restrict the area and make sure we all have peace of mind and we all be safe. So that's how we encourage our people to take advantage. So if you want to buy five $30 tickets, we welcome it. If you want to buy two, three $30 ticket, we welcome it. It's all geared towards supporting ALJA.
So let me ask Mr. Seton, the president of the Delaware Valley chapter. Mr. Seton, how mobilized is your chapter for this convention? Are your people in high spirit?
Well, everybody is fired up. Thank you for bringing that question. Everybody is fired up and they are all energized and they are looking forward to this convention. They have worked extremely hard. As a matter of fact, last Sunday, we had a meeting in Townsville, Pennsylvania, around the Coatesville area, where we were able to mobilize our members. So all of our members are energized, they are all motivated, and they will be at the convention. One thing I want to speak to with respect to the ticket issues, the reason why we are limiting the attendance to between 2 to 215 is because of COVID restriction. We all know we are in a pandemic and we don't want to overcrowd the banquet hall. So if you have not purchased your ticket yet, this is the best time to do it because we don't want you to wait and by the time you come to the door on that day and you can't enter. Maybe you drove several miles or several thousand miles to get to us, and then you can't enter the banquet hall. That is not a good. It's not going to be a good situation for anybody. So we just want to appeal to those who are interested in attending our convention. Please let us know if you want tickets. Mr. Massaquoi already stated we have enough tickets available. So once you can get us know, and all those who have already sent their money to Mr. Massaquoi, their tickets will be made available to them when they come that night at the banquet.
So we understand that there will be elections coming up quickly. I know it's critical. Probably some of you here on this platform are vying for positions, or what is the momentum? I know that will be probably President Mason. Is your first term over by Saturday, and are you intending to run again?
Yes, our elections, our constitution rather calls for a 2-year term for officers of the association. So those of us who were elected in Minnesota in 2019, our term will be over this weekend in New Jersey. Yes, I will be seeking re-election for a second and final term because the constitution forbids president of ALJA for running for more than 2 terms. Moses is a witness. So yeah. So I will be seeking re-election, and there are other candidates for the position of vice president. Mr. Peter Massaquoi, who is the convention chairperson, is seeking that position as vice president. So is Dr. Sam Johnson, also from the Delaware Valley chapter. We also have, as far as I know, because the Elections Commission has released the names of candidates for who are seeking offices in these elections. I know for a fact that there are 2 candidates for the position of National Secretary General. They include the incumbent Secretary, Mrs. Akai Awolite Gleding, and we also have Mr. who's from the Delaware Valley area, and Mr. Joey Kennedy, who is from the Midwest chapter. So those are the competitive races in these elections, and I think we're all kind of excited that different campaigns are now running. They're now running the candidates and promoting the candidates, which I think is a good thing. And we're looking to an election this weekend that is free, fair, and transparent. Which is something that we're pretty good at doing as ALJA members.
Do we know if anyone running against you?
As far as I know, no. I don't know of anyone who is running against me. So I consider myself fortunate, and I think I'm just pleased at the level of confidence that my colleagues continue to repose in me, and I don't take it for granted. It's something that when you look back on, you want to be grateful to your colleagues who can look at you and say, okay, we think you need to go back to this position unchallenged. And I don't take it for granted. It's not something I think happens in a lot of elections. So I'm very pleased, and I want to thank my colleagues for that.
So, yeah, Mr. President, I want to ask you a question. What is the requirement for an individual to be voted for or to participate in the election? What is the requirement?
Well, you must be a registered member of you must be a registered member of the association. You must be either a practicing journalist or one who practiced in a profession before. You must meet all the financial requirement for a member. You must pay your convention fees, and I think in short, those are the requirements.
You said convention fees, and how much we're talking about? You said dues. How much are we talking about?
Yeah, I'm sure people listening now will say, ALJA dues is very, very low. I didn't even want to call it because it's so low, it's such a small amount. But
there could be someone, wanting to fly in tomorrow, and the person may not know what is happening. So if you can just put the information out there, that would be helpful.
But I agree.
I agree. So,
Mr. President, I would think that let the person call the president, call the Secretary General, and that information can be given. That means they should go the extra mile to show.
I concede, gentlemen.
President, you don't have to talk about it, do you?
Yeah, I concede. But it seems that you guys are working very hard, right?
Yeah. So
no, we're working very hard. I just wanted to add, I want to check Mr. Vulcano's record to make sure he paid the due the way he's pushing back at me. I want to check the record.
Well, you'd be surprised. I don't see any acknowledgement from you. My dues
No, I'm just kidding.
have been paid. My convention package has been paid off, so I am viable. I am standing solid.
I was just kidding, Vulcano. I want to thank all our members who've already made their contribution, who made their payment, and in the next few days, as we get closer to the start of the convention, which is in 2 days, we're hopeful that the rest of those who are still in debt can make their payment. If you all don't mind, I don't want to gloss over this. I just want to emphasize, Vulcano, the training session, because sometimes I think it gets jumbled up from what is happening on Friday versus what is happening on Saturday. Yeah. So on Friday is the hybrid media training that would involve professors and veteran journalists from across the United States at different universities and media institutions across the United States. We have, let me just go through just a few of them. Mr. Kenneth Mouse. Mr. Kenneth Mouse is the founder of the Trenton Journal in Trenton, New Jersey. He's a veteran journalist. He will be the first to present on Friday. We also have Professor Kim Pearson. She is an executive professor of journalism at the College of New Jersey. She will also present at our workshop on Friday. And then we have Dr. Musonda Kapatamoyo. He is the chairman of the Mass Communication Department at the University of South Illinois in Edwardsville, in Illinois. His specific specialty is teaching, writing, and design for the web, multimedia use in mass media, new technology, and media. Just to emphasize the point we were talking about earlier about having people come to just give us some of these guardrails in terms of what is important for those of us who are involved in social media news dissemination. And then we have Professor Jean Kirkley. She is professor of media ethics and law at the School of Journalism and Mass Communications at the University of Minnesota. And then finally, we have Jen Stewart. Jen Stewart is the principal editor and writes for the Institute on Community Integration, also at the University of Minnesota. So you can see these are highly skilled veteran folks who know their job, who have decided that they will lend their expertise to our convention, and we couldn't be more pleased and excited that they will drop everything. And we're not paying these people, they're volunteering their services. So we're encouraging our folks in Monrovia. We work with the PUL over the last several weeks to select a number of journalists who will be at the I Center on Upper Carey Street, who will be a part of this training session. It's an important training session, and I know even folks who are in the United States can join us by way of, because we'll be live. The training sessions and the entire convention will be live on KMTV, will be live on LPR TV as well, and other media network will stream our convention. So if you're involved in social media production in whatever form, we want to urge you to take advantage of this training exercise that ALJA is providing and to help all of us who are in this business do it the right way. And then on Saturday, we'll have the panel discussion, which will focus on the theme of the convention. I know Jackson was talking about, and Moses asked a question about when it comes to media sustainability, journalists being underpaid. Our goal at ALJA is not to tailor solution for our colleagues in Liberia. So what we want them to do in this panel discussion is to have themselves tailor what the solution will be, which is why all the panelists, the majority of the panelists are folks who live in Liberia, who work in Liberia, who know what the issues are. They will bring those to bear during the panel discussion on Saturday, just before we jump into our General Assembly. So I just wanted to emphasize the 2 points in terms of the distinction between our Friday training session and the panel discussion on Saturday.
We're about to wrap up because we got 6 more minutes to go. But quick, the last thought I had here: are these people coming in person because it has an impact, or are they going to be virtual?
It will be a mix of in-person presentation and virtual presentation. So there will be a mix. Some will be there in person.
All right. So Moses, we're going to go to our studio guest to give the last word. We'll start with Jackson Seton. We'll give you a minute, please. And then we'll come to Peter Massaquoi, another minute, and then we'll wrap up with the president. We like to be stickler of time. It's important.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Shelton, for giving us, that is the national president, myself, and Mr. Peter Massaquoi, the opportunity to appear on your platform to talk about our pending convention. As you already stated during this interview, you indicated that I'm the outgoing president of the Delaware Valley chapter. That's true. I decided to step back. I have been heading this chapter for a little over 6 years, and I think it is now time for a new breed of individuals to head this chapter and move it at the next level. So again, I want to thank all of members of the Delaware Valley chapter, all of the officers, former officers and current officers of the Association of Liberian Journalists for a good working relationship that I've had with you guys over the years. And I just want to say that let us hold steadfast, let us hold together, because ALJA is a very important institution, and we should all strive to make it more important. Elections are coming, and ALJA needs to be very, very vigilant to ensure that elections in Liberia is free, is fair, and it's transparent.
Thank you.
So I
1 minute.
want to say thank you to everybody.
Yeah, Mr. Massaquoi.
Well, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity. Aside from being the chairman of the convention planning committee, I'm also contesting. I want to appreciate the leadership of ALJA for giving me the opportunity to serve in this capacity. And I also want to say thank you to my campaign team and all members of DelVal Valley chapters and the entire ALJA family. We are going through the process peacefully. We're going to run a very clean and professional campaign. We're going to make our case. Our goal is to help support ALJA advocacy through working with the national leadership and to enhance media development in Liberia. I wish everyone happy and successful convention 2021. See you
Thank
in
you.
Trenton, New Jersey.
Let's go for Joe. 1 minute, please.
Thank you so much, Avocado. Thanks, Moses. And I know Masa is not here, but I want to tell her thank you too. And thanks to you for guys for the invitation to be here today. I want to thank Jackson for his services to ALJA, especially the Delaware Valley chapter over the last, I think, 6 years. We owe you a debt of gratitude. To Peter and his team in
You need
New
to
Jersey,
pay
thank
me.
you for putting together what we anticipate will be a wonderful convention come this weekend. ALJA is a unique organization. It occupies a unique space in the diaspora, and we've over the last several years garnered for ourselves a reputation that will continue to be strengthened in the years ahead. And I want to thank all our members. I want to thank Moses too, as the former president, for all his work he did prior to my ascendancy. I think when I took over, what I promised to do was to build upon the success he has achieved. And I think we've done that to an extent. Hopefully, the next 2 years we can do even more. And then whoever takes after me will do the same. It's moving the goalpost one step further. And that is the thing. That is what I think every president ALJA ought to do. So I'm looking forward to a wonderful weekend. We're looking forward to a successful convention. We're looking forward to raising as much money as we can raise to be able to impact our colleagues in Liberia in a positive way, building the capacity, enhancing the work they do, and ensuring that our advocacy continues in the country. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Moses. Joe. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Jackson. Thank you, Peter Massaquoi, for being here. We appreciate those guys tonight. Joe, Moses.
Absolutely.
I thought it was a wonderful discussion. We talked about
Yes.
ALJA this weekend. We look forward to an informed convention, one that will be jam packed. But before you come in quick with your final word, we just about out of time. I want to remind our viewers and listeners to join us every Tuesday and Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We want to thank viewers who joined in tonight. Jennifer Jarley, Wilmot Caillou Jr. from North Dakota or Minnesota, because he always back and forth. Amento Brown, Maplanikia Jetty Mowbray Arma, and that's my good old friend who's a former journalist, now a counselor, Mr. Steve Quare, who is the president, just was inaugurated for KDDA. Yvette Sivos from Atlanta, Georgia. Sekou Kaba, V. Shelton Bridges, Malcolm Wimoga Joseph. Hopefully he was still there. Vakunun John Wamahe and Theo Phillips and Sampon Jr. and Precious Caroline Smith. Moses?
Yeah, I think it was a good show. We heard a lot about ALJA, the program for this weekend. It seems that the ALJA family is in high spirit. Everything seems to be set for a successful convention. We want to say hats off to ALJA, and we look forward to a huge turnout in Trenton. And I also want to say thank you to you for hosting. I think the interaction was good, and even though we had a little bit of a technical glitch at the onset, but the overall was good, and it was a good show. Thank you.
Again, we look forward to seeing you here on Friday when we have another important edition of the topics in the issues room. Again, we did remind you that in the issues room is where we discuss the things that matter. My name is Volcano Shelton. We'll be back here Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks all of you for viewing and watching us and listening. If you didn't watch us, share the link. We come your way on Facebook and YouTube, and also the Issues Room page. Invite a friend. Continue to spread the word. We're an alternative media institution here to bring the issues, trending issues in Liberia, Africa, and the diaspora. Thank you so much for being with us.